So a lot of people have videos on how to journal, right? And so I thought I'd make one on how I've been journaling over probably 2 decades of my life. And this is kind of my pocket journal that I carry around. And so obviously I've been utilizing it, and I already made a video of how I use this. Um, and then and then today, what I thought was I'll show you a little bit of how I use my big journal, and show you a little bit of a spread that I use to kind of track kind of these daily practices that I've kind of built into my life that help me to be who I am, and hopefully that can inspire you to kind of start adapting some habits or some practices that could help you. And so what I'll do is I'll go on the overhead cam and show you kind of an inside look of how I use these big journals. All right, so I already made another video of how I use this. And so I'll try to create a little video capper here, or I'll put it in the description so you can see how I use my pocket journal. And so from the last time I did, you can see a little bit of it being filled out, right? But let's talk about my big journal. And so this is kind of this is the Moleskine 400-page expanded version with dot grid. I love the dot grid more than the line or the boxes because it still gives me the flexibility to just draw and be free-handed, but also gives me some dots to kind of keep things kind of lined up. And so you'll see in my habit tracker how I utilize that. But this is kind of my old journal, so I'm going to just fly through this. I don't want you to see my life, right? But this is kind of like what it looks like. But let me open it up to the habit tracker to kind of show you a little bit of how I track my days. And so the reason why I wanted to make this video today is because every 2 weeks I create a new one and I make the adjustments that are needed as I kind of live through life. But there's some practices I've been pretty consistent with, and there's some room to make practices that I want to give it a shot for 2 weeks and see if it's been helpful in my life. And so let's get into it. So what I do is take a paper, take a ruler and take a pen, and I love to kind of draw out the grids. For some reason, it's very therapeutic to draw the lines. And then because of these dot grids, it's really helpful. And so usually it's about 9 spaces out, which is perfect to be able to put a date for each date. And the reason why one exists is because some months there's 31 days, right? And so 9 dots across has been really good, and then two dots deep has been a good kind of template for me over the years. And so here I draw a line on the 7th dot just to kind of use my icons to kind of help track and indicate what that means. And so I'll give you a little bit more precision on how what all these kind of markers mean. But let me zoom in a little bit. There you go. So so one of the biggest things that I learned in my life is you need to have a foundation, right? And so the foundation or your baseline is just as important as kind of the ceiling that you're trying to raise, meaning all the new things and all the creativity. But you need to have at least a baseline that kind of reminds you, like this is the basic foundation of your life. So let's go into it. So rise at 5:30, so that's a goal for me. And so I try to wake up before the sun rises. And to be honest, these last 2 weeks, I have not been able to hit it once. But it's a new spread, and so maybe I'll have an opportunity to hit these goals. Today, I did not wake up, so it's a failure there, but I have more days to kind of make up for it. Secondly, is the first thing I like to do after I wake up is take a walk. And so before I kind of do anything, I've been trying to be more disciplined. Before coffee, before my phone or computers or even journaling, I want to take a walk without headsets or without my phone. And so I'll do a quick walk, but also, I also want to incorporate exercise as well. And so running, and then if I make it to the gym, then I'll indicate that. So when I do a walk, it's one of these marks. When I walk and run, or if I run, right, I do 2 marks. And if I go to the gym, I'll put a circle. And so that's how it kind of progresses, right? Now, focus sessions is really important for me. And so this is actually an indicator of showing that I want to do at least 3 focus sessions. And these are like 90-minute sprints. not 90-minute sprints, 90-minute sessions. So a circle would be my first one. If I do it again, I have one line coming across, and if I do it again, it goes all the way. And so what that does is it gives me 3 opportunities to have 90-minute sessions. And if I actually have a day like that, it's a very successful day. Now, IRL with Sam, film and publish. So this is exactly what I'm doing, right? So I set out a goal to make a video as regularly as I can, hopefully every single day. And so if I film it, I'll check it. And then once it's published, I'll put a circle around it. And so in the previous journal, previous tracker, I was very consistent, as you can see, right? I did it. So every single day I posted a video. Now, flow is where I'm actually either reading or I'm kind of thinking deeply about something, or I'm writing. But it's, when you get yourself in the flow state, and I try to track how often I get into that state. And when I put, it's a hash mark. So if I do it, I put 1 mark. If I do it again, it's 2. But what it is, it has to be a minimum of 25 minutes being in flow. And so, I have headsets and music and Spotify playlists that helps me to get into flow, to help me not just to like focus on things I need to get done, but expand my mind, expand my creativity, and do some of that deep thinking and deep work that I do. Now, Constava is my business, and so every time I work, I want to make sure that I'm working on my business every single day. And so you'll see, I'll just make a simple check mark just to say, hey, I was intentional, I built my business, I reached out to clients, and so forth. So it's just an indicator to just remind me, like, as much as I have a job, I also have a business that I'm building. And so I just want to indicate that. Now, I didn't put the circle around this, but usually I do. And so when I put a heart, that means there was I was present, and there were moments worth remembering. And then special moments of the day. Now I'll put a circle saying this was a special day. And the way that looks is you see these pictures, right? So I actually tape pictures into my journal, and it becomes almost like a photo journal as well as a written journal. And it's been really great, and I could kind of give you a little bit of so you see those pictures posted in there. But the idea is, like, this one was a milestone where I was able to finish this book and stay committed to the task, the project that I set out to make a video every single day as I read through this book. And I did that, and a lot of you guys know that. And so I thought that was important. So I printed out the screenshot, and I'm going to paste it. And then this is a special moment with my boy where we get haircuts. This person that's been cutting my hair has been cutting my hair since I was 15 years old. And my son is now 15 years old, and so it's a full circle. She's the only one that's ever cut his hair. And so we love supporting Terry in Fullerton. And so she's the only one that's ever cut my hair. And so, except for COVID, when I tried to cut my own hair, but that didn't work out. So what I'll do is I'll tape it into my journal. And then as I review my journal, I'll be able to see, like, wow, man, it's not just words and black and ink and paper, it's actually images as well. And it's really kind of enlivened my journaling practice. Now, let's talk about the digital sunset. So this is something that I've been really working hard on making sure that at a certain time, usually about an hour before I go to bed, I don't look at screens at all. And I've gloriously failed the last 2 weeks, right? And so I'm not going to show you my tracker because it's a negative. Like, I didn't do it the whole 2 weeks of April. I set out to do it, but it didn't work out. But this next 2 weeks, I'm going to try really hard to indicate when my digital sunset is. And so I'll actually put the time that I put my phones away, and it'll just help me to understand, like, oh man, I am being intentional about less screen time. Evening examine is my journaling practice at night, where I do a review, a reflect, and a response. And so this is for me to kind of review my pocket journal and kind of look through my day. And it's just really just simple, like maybe a half-page entry or sometimes a full-page entry, where I'll just write down kind of like what I learned from the day. And so I'll do a review process where I'll go from hour to hour and just write down every single thing that has been done. And usually it stays in here. And then as I'm going through the day-to-day, the tracker of all the activities, then I'm gonna kind of ask myself a reflection question. And sometimes it's, there's 3 questions that sometimes I tend to ask myself is, what was I avoiding? What am I assuming? And what am I afraid of? And that's just been a really good prompt for me to kind of think through my day. And then lately I've been asking myself, what made my day difficult? and just being able to acknowledge that and then see if there's something I could do to kind of mitigate some of these patterns that's making my day difficult. Now, finally, wellness and to bed. So I track what time I go to bed, and I also track how I'm feeling when I'm going to bed. So wellness could mean a lot of things, but usually it's me asking myself physically, how am I feeling? Usually I'm pretty tired, so that's a good thing. But is it a good tired or a bad tired, right? Sometimes I also kind of rate it based upon my sense of contentment and peace, or sometimes I'll use like the grading system of ABC as a way to just say, hey, am I satisfied with how I live my life today? And so when you actually lay it out in these 2 week scopes, it gives you a chance to kind of see the patterns. The reason why I don't make it a full month or make it a full, like some of those trackers that like tracks it for a long time, is because these practices, like sometimes they adjust and they change. Sometimes they take priority. And so there's a lot of other practices that I've tried that I didn't add on to these 2 weeks. But sometimes they'll come back in because I feel like it's a season where I need it. And so, and then usually I try to leave at least one clear, because as I'm reading and learning, there might be a practice or a habit that I want to incorporate that I'll just put in here and then start tracking from the day that I started to try that habit or that practice. So that's my journaling practice, and so I'm giving you an inside look in how I do what I do, and I hope that the actual overhead shot and actually seeing the visual is helpful and maybe spark some ideas for you. And so for those who are new to this channel, my name is Sam, and I'm so grateful that you have invested your time and your attention. If you're watching this video to this point, you've been pretty committed, and so I'm very grateful. And so what I'm trying to do is just simply record short videos where I could kind of bring people into a life of an ordinary person trying to just live a meaningful life, build a beautiful home for my family, and do work that matters, that makes tomorrow possibly a better tomorrow for my family, for my friends, for my community, and maybe the world. And this is simply an invitation for you to do this with me. And collectively, if we continue to learn to live meaningfully and build with thoughtfully and actually do work that moves the needle to make the world a better place, I think collectively the future looks bright. And so thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.